So hi everyone, in this video I'd just like to share with you 6 things that we do as soon as you've purchased a property and you've got the keys. If you're new here, my name is Josh Harrison, and along with my wife we provide homes for other families, and the whole purpose of this YouTube channel is to document our property investing journey and to tell our story. It's also to offer hints and suggestions and tips for those who may well be interested in getting involved in property too. So if that's you and you like the sound of that, then feel free to subscribe and join us. In the previous video, we did a tour of this property, which is our most recent purchase. And in this video, we'd like to share with you 6 things we do as soon as you get the keys and you come into the property for the first time after purchase. So what's the first thing you do? Well, as soon as you walk in the front door, you're likely to look down at a pile of posts on the floor. So first thing that we do is we pick it up, stick it on the side, often on the side of the kitchen, and come back to it later. The next thing you want to do is take a slow and steady walk all around your property, inside and out. And what you're doing is just making sure that your property is secure. Of course, you would have checked this just before completion, particularly if there's a delay between having the offer accepted and completing. You always want to make sure you go around, just have one final look to make sure it's in the condition you are purchasing it in. But as soon as you've purchased it, go around and have a good look. Make sure someone on the day of purchase hasn't just chucked a brick through the window. Make sure all your panels and your fences in your garden are there, so people can't just come onto your property. Check to make sure the boiler hasn't just blown up, or the water tank, if you've got one, hasn't just burst. You are making sure your property is secure. And if it's not, you need to make sure you get someone in as soon as possible to make sure it is, and to stop any further decay or any further problems happening. The first thing, pick the post up, put it to one side, walk around the property, make sure it's secure. Then what do? We come back to that pile of posts, and the first thing we do is we sift through it and we get rid of all of what I call the junk mail, all the rubbish, the campaign leaflets, the takeaway leaflets, and just put them in a recycling bin there and then. Then you're left with a pile of stuff that you either have to redirect because it doesn't belong to you, or stuff that you actually have to open. That can go in your car and back to your office or back home. Then you want to go into where you find your meter readings, and you want to go and make sure, in fact, I'll do it with you, shall I? You want to go and make sure that you take your meter readings for your gas and your electricity. In this case, they're here. These are credit meters. A meter reading will come up there. I suggest you write it down and take a photograph, and you should also find a meter for the gas. There's no light on it, but the reading should be there. And also be mindful that some properties might have water meters, so you may want to take a reading for that too. So post security of the property, take your meter readings. And then what you want to do, the fourth thing, is you want to then walk around the property with a pad, with paper, and with a pen, and write down everything you would like doing to that property to get it into a standard so it's lettable to a tenant of your choosing. Write down everything that needs doing, and I would suggest, if you've not done this before, just do room by room. Literally write down line item by line item by line item, everything you'd like doing in your property. Produce a schedule of works. When you've got that, jump in the car and go back home to your office. Once you're home, you then need to come back to that pile of posts and sort it. Stuff either might need to be redirected, and by that I mean it'll be addressed to someone that's not you, so a previous occupier. Write on it, or if you're going to have lots of properties, I suggest you buy a stamper and stamp it and say, not at this address, pop it back in the letterbox, and the lovely posties will send it back to an undelivered address, and it will get sorted out for the previous occupants or occupiers. The other post that is addressed to you, like the legal occupier, or you might say this is not a circular for the homeowner, open those up and you'll find it will go into 2 camps. Stuff that is for you to action, in which case action it, file it, or it'll be, oh, welcome to your new address. Would you like our most discounted broadband service? I see you've just moved home. Would you like help with a removals firm? It's addressed to you, but you might not need it, so therefore just either shred it or recycle it. So that deals with the post. And then it comes back to those meter readings. And what we do is we let the existing companies know for gas, electricity, perhaps water, that we are now, definitely water, that we are now the legally responsible for those accounts. Let them know the meter readings, so then you're not paying for anyone else's usage and they're not paying for yours. That's how it works. But also then we switch, particularly gas and electricity. And if you use a switching provider, like online, you might even get paid to do that. It's not much, but it's better than a poke in the eye, right? So switch meter readings. So security, post, take meter readings and switch. That's kind of like a third one. Produce a schedule of works. Next thing is let the local government know that you don't need a TV license. That's, you can do it on .gov.uk. Just say not at this address. And finally, council tax. Let your local council know that you have now purchased it, and you might be able to get some sort of reduction in council tax or even exemption depending on the level of work. A top tip for that would be, if you are going to get in touch with the council and you are going to seek a reduction, then send over the schedule of work you've just done. Send them over a time frame too. It might take 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 4 weeks. And they may well say, yes, we can give you a deduction, or some will say yes, some will say no, some will say you can have a bit of it for 6 months. Having purchased in Nottinghamshire and in Derbyshire, we've had a whole range. So there are the 6 things that we do as soon as we have purchased a property. I hope you liked this one. If you did, please let us know by hitting the thumbs up icon. If you're new here and you'd like to join us as we continue to document our story and get hints and tips and suggestions, then please feel free to subscribe. That's it for this one. My name's Josh Harrison, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.